Am I the a-hole for telling my sister's kids the real reason she got divorced? My sister Lisa, 36 female, just divorced her husband Tom, 38 male. It wasn't a really messy affair, although there was some mudslinging on both sides. She's been running around telling everybody he had an affair, but the truth of the matter is that she's been having affairs for years. He finally found out and decided to end things. Only a few family members know this, and we've all kept quiet to protect her. Lisa and Tom have 2 children, Jake, 15 male, and Emma, 12 female. They have not been handling the divorce well and have acted out quite a bit. Lisa has been portraying herself as the victim, and because of this, the children resent Tom. They won't even want to see him, and when they do, they are openly hostile during the very limited time they have together. Last weekend, I had Jake and Emma over when they first began to vent about their dad. I tried to be objective with them, but they just kept hammering. Jake said, "Mom told us Dad cheated on her, and that is why they split up. I hate him for breaking up our family." Exasperated, I blurted, "Your dad isn't a cheater. It is your mom who has been deceiving you." Well, they were obviously in shock and wanted more, and I told them everything. When Lisa found out, she was furious. She said I had betrayed her and put her children in an even worse position than they were in before. My mom said I did the right thing. My dad thinks I should have kept quiet. Tom is glad it's all out in the open, though he too thinks it should have been Lisa who had to tell the truth. Now Jake and Emma are both bewildered and upset at both of us. They're not talking to Lisa, and that's been very painful for her. She says that I've destroyed her relationship with her kids, that I'll never know what it's like to protect your kids from a painful truth. So am I the a-hole for telling my sister's kids the real reason that she got divorced? Not the a-hole. She was lying to alienate their dad. She deserves the consequences of her actions. Not the a-hole. Kids deserve the truth, especially if they're being manipulated. Your sister's actions led to this fallout. Every kid needs at least one adult they know will tell them the truth. Not the a-hole. She's so upset that you've ruined your relationship with her kids but had no issue doing that to her ex. First, she has an affair, and then she turns his own children against him. What a witch. You did the right thing. She had an affair in her last relationship as well, and to this day refuses to take responsibility for it. So this sort of behavior isn't anything new. Honestly, if you were my uncle, I'll be happy you actually told the truth to me at the moment instead of me finding out years later. You save his kids from hating their dad and showing them their mom is a lying, manipulative, cheating person. This was me. I lost out on having an amazing father because my mom manipulated us from a young age to hate him. I'll never forgive her for that. It's been almost 20 years since I found out the truth myself through court documents. I cut her off and haven't spoken to her in almost 20 years. Now I don't have either a parent. Why do people have to suck so bad? Next story. Am I the a-hole for blocking my twin because she tried to sleep with my fiance? For context, my twin and I are identical twins but different heights due to childhood illness. I am shorter and more petite due to the illness, but a healthy 28 female adult. My fiance, 29 male, is now my husband. Backstory: my twin and I already had a complicated relationship due to her not respecting boundaries, expecting me to be available whenever she wanted, and having hissy fits anytime I spent time with my own friends. But then canceling our plans an hour after we were supposed to meet to spend time with our friends. This was a continual ongoing issue throughout our whole lives. I should be available to her 110% of the time, hate any friends I made, hate any guy I dated. I should only want to be with her. Cue in my husband. My husband is an amazing, patient, handsome, fun-loving man. I cannot ask for a better life partner. When we started dating, my twin reacted to him like all of my exes, interrogated him, assumed he was going to be abusive for X number of reasons, hostile, etc. To clarify, my husband is not abusive. My husband, knowing that being close to my family is really important to me, did his best efforts to get my twin's approval. He jumped through all the hoops and trials, and even made friends, or so he thought, with my twin. He is now also really close with my parents and grandparents and sees them regularly even if I'm at work. My twin is also married, was engaged at a time, so he thought nothing of her now being friendly with my husband. One evening, while my husband and my twin were hanging out, roommates at a time / separate bedrooms, they had a good chat about life. When they went to hug goodnight, my twin pressed her boobs on my husband, said, "I appreciate what we have, whatever this is," and tried to kiss him. My husband rejected her advances and then called me immediately afterwards. I was at work. I tried asking my twin what happened for context, and she just gaslit me about it. Days and weeks following that night, she started telling everyone that my husband is a pervert and pedophile because he married me who looks like a child, even though I am 28, and has created more rumors since. We don't live together anymore. She also had a meltdown right before my wedding and has been super petty since. I have now blocked her because she refuses to apologize for trying to sleep with my husband and spreading rumors. Am I the a-hole? She's taking her time, but eventually she'll think to say to you, "I was testing him. I wanted to make sure he wouldn't cheat on you. He passed." OP needs to learn to stop putting her husband in awkward situations. It's OP's mess to fix, and that'll start with distancing from said twin. Blocking is a good start. Next is telling everyone what happened, history of similar occurrences, and warning everyone not to act as sisters flying monkeys. If twin never faces any consequences for being a sister, why would she bother changing? This is very true. OP's an a-hole for allowing her sister to treat her husband this way. As soon as she started calling him abusive, OP should have put proper boundaries in place. Husband is fortunate sister didn't try and falsely accuse him of something. I would be furious with my partner if they put me in this situation with their family. You really wrote this entire thing because you genuinely thought you were in the wrong, or you just wanted to vent? Honestly, more so vent. My parents were really trying to push me into reconnecting with my twin, because now she is all sad and depressed because I'm not talking to her. They have always prioritized protecting her feelings and telling me, well, that's just how she is anytime she acts the way she does. Edit. The people asking about her husband's thoughts on it. My twin essentially has told her husband nothing happened, that she did not hit on my husband, that my husband is lying, etc. Her husband believes her and is also pushing the rumors that my husband is a pedo, etc. Her husband spent so much time trying to talk my husband at the family get-together that different individuals asked them to stop talking about my husband and I because they were getting so annoyed. It's also how my husband and I found out about the rumors. None of my other siblings believe or agree with the rumors that my twin and husband have spewed. Honestly, the only people still defending my twin and her husband's actions are my parents. More edit. I have definitely cut my twin and her husband out of my life. This is more of event post. For those asking about setting boundaries prior to this block, I'd already had many arguments with my twin about her behavior and how I was done with it. She continually stepped over those boundaries. The final straw was her trying to sleep with my husband. I'd ask her multiple times over the phone, with already limited contact, to apologize to him. During the family get-together, it was a final Hail Mary to get her to admit to her and apologize, which she did not. Lead to an official absolute block, only to find out about the rumors afterwards. Despite this, my parents want to try and mend things with my twin, which is an absolute no on mine and my husband's end. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to mend things with my daughter? My ex and I, 49 male, were married for 2 years and had a daughter before I discovered her affair. But she took her own life during the divorce. I stayed close to my in-law because I didn't want to take away their granddaughter. But that was a mistake, because they secretly hated me and were turning my daughter against me. By the time I found out, it was too late, and daughter hated me. She was fighting with me, broke many things in the house, and ran away multiple times. I tried to explain to her what happened, but she wouldn't believe me. My family also tried in vain. At one point, I couldn't take it anymore and let her go live with her grandparents, and she cut all contact with me. After a year of waiting, I had enough and moved to Canada to try to rebuild my life. She was 14 when I left. Recently, I learned that my father passed away and I wanted to fly back. But my brother told me that my daughter would be present. Apparently, as she grew up, she understood many things and realized her grandparents were lying. She cut contact with them and was rebuilding a relationship with my brother and father. They didn't let her contact me because I was still in a bad place. And frankly, I still am. I'm not sure I want her in my life again. I know she was just a kid back then, and now she's an adult, 22 female now. But even with that, I'm not sure. I need advice. Opinion. Go if you want to go, just don't expect your daughter to stay away. She realized the truth and fixed her relationship with your brother and father. She's allowed to be there and grieve as well. I don't think it would be inappropriate for you to ask your brother if he could tell her that you want her to stay away from you, but he may not want to get involved, and that's his right. Advice: get into therapy. I don't know what happened to you, but if it was so bad that you're still in such a bad place that you don't know whether to go to your family because your father died, and you might have to encounter the child who hurt you, it sounds like you need real help coping and moving on. I'm not trying to be mean or sarcastic with this. I'm genuinely concerned for you in this situation. They didn't let her contact me because I was still in a bad place. Good to know his family has his back. His brother can help communicate to her that OP needs time and space. All these years of pent-up feelings of hurt and betrayal don't disappear fast. She's an adult now and will be able to understand that her father's healing is just as important as the reconciliation. I love that the brother was looking out for all parties involved and that OP recognized that his act was selfless and in protection of both OP and the daughter. That's pretty rare. I would like to buy that gem of a man a beer or two. Maybe my comment won't be seen, but this happened to me and now as your daughter. My dad and his family poisoned me against my mom once she became schizophrenic, and I was a god-awful daughter to her time of need. But I too realized I was being lied to and crawled back to her when it was admittedly too late. I feel that guilt and that pain every day, all the time, even though she's forgiven me and wants us to be okay again. I am so guilty for the time lost. And I know it's hard, but it wasn't your daughter's fault. It was the fault of her mother's family. She already lost her mom. I know how hard it would be for you to connect with her again, but I'll promise it'll be so good for you and her. Give her a chance, man. I know I needed it. I work in social services and have a similar story myself, so I've seen a lot of stuff. I really want you to know that they poisoned you, because as a child your brain hadn't yet developed fully. They guided you to these beliefs intentionally. They brainwashed you. It's not as simple as, they told me this and I foolishly believed it. The people responsible for helping you learn to interpret the world around you messed with your head. The person you are today sees the flaws in the logic. You might look back and feel stupid or feel like you should have seen what was going on, but that's because your grown-up brain has kicked in. Your kid brain had no chance. You have nothing, not a damn thing, to feel guilty over. I'm sorry that you lost those years, but please don't spend the years you do have feeling guilty. You deserve to have a joyous relationship with her now. You can't get the time back, but you can make up for it by enjoying her now. Massive hugs to both of you. Edit: I am quite surprised by the replies. I ask for help with my daughter and what I get are attacks to my manhood. It is quite funny when I received messages of people insulting me and telling me to grow up when these people are reaching out to me and insulting me because they were displeased by my story. A story they saw on internet too. The adult thing to do would have been to simply not reply. Thanks to those who provide answers and support. I really appreciate it. Anyways, I called my brother back and we agreed that we will try to repair our relationship after the funeral. For now, we will mourn my father. Last story. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend after she set up cameras in our apartment in case I abused her? I need help. I'm male 25 and my ex-girlfriend is female 24. We were together for 3 years and marriage was definitely in our future. Basically, my ex always loved true crime, but she was really getting into DV true crime. She had been down her DV rabbit hole for about 4 to 6 months. I want to say before she really started acting weird with me. She didn't want me to have her location, which we mutually had for safety purposes. She was telling her mom, sister, and friends everything I did. She was being skittish around me, kept a diary when she had never had one before, and would basically just be overly cautious around me. I'm not sure how to describe it. You could just see she was being weird. Even at gatherings, my family asked me if we were fighting because she seemed overly cautious around me and was only sticking with the women. It was really starting to get to me, but I didn't want her suspicions to be right, so I didn't do anything about it. She had told me that as a man, I have to understand that DV happens all the time. Even perfect men suddenly ends up abusers, and that I was no different. It really got to me. All I could think then, and even now, is that I'm nothing like those men. I get that it could be anyone, but seriously? I don't even kill bugs. I take them outside. She had never been in an abusive relationship either. This behavior was so unlike her, but I felt like there was nothing I could do because of her position. If I reacted badly, she would be right. And I know I'm not an abuser, so I just took it. We had been together for 3 entire years, and she really thought that I would suddenly abuse her? I've never raised my voice at her, and I came from a broken home with DV. She knows about that. I would never treat a woman, or child, man, or animal that way. A few days ago, she put up cameras and I noticed pretty quickly because she didn't hide them well. When I confronted her, she told me it was for her safety and peace of mind, and that if I wanted them gone, I don't care about her safety. I got really freaking angry, but I got this moment of clarity all of a sudden. It was like all the anger left my body as quick as it came and I understood. All those months hit me like a train and I was over it all. I didn't yell, didn't react, I just said that we were over. I told her that I couldn't be with someone who thought of me as an abuser. I didn't take any of my things, I just left to stay at my parents' house. She's been telling her family that I'm an abuser and I've gotten a few semi-threatening calls and texts from her brothers. I'm really torn up about it, and I'm feeling like a real a-hole now. Her texts range from, "I'm sorry, I know you're not an abuser," to how I never cared about her and that she was right about me all along. Why did she convince herself that I would abuse her? I had never ever laid my hands on her, nor have I ever yelled at her. If something was wrong, we handled it like adults, not dysfunctional teens. I miss her a lot and I'm starting to regret it all. I should have just let her put the cameras up. That probably isn't a self-respecting choice, but I really loved my girlfriend and I understood to an extent. Not the a-hole. This person is unhinged. I'm a woman who enjoys true crime. This is so weird. He's lucky he got out when he did. This was all about her fantasizing about being an abuse victim and setting him up to become one. Even now, she's told others that he's an abuser, while telling him secretly that he isn't one. She's in it for the attention and is in desperate need of therapy. OP should not be alone with her, talk to her in text, because she is going to turn this around on him and paint him as the abuser now that is walking out the door. Not the a-hole. 100% this. 6 more months and he could be walking away with a criminal record after she bruises herself and files a police report. Wannabe victims will find ways to be victims. Not the a-hole. It won't stop with the cameras. Pretty soon it will be financial abuse when you don't buy her a new dining room table. Everything you will do will be emotional abuse. She's already lying about you. I will guess that she is a high anxiety person, but that won't give you any peace. Sorry, it is time to walk away. When you go back to get your stuff, be sure that you have a witness. Take your mom. By the way, she is committing emotional abuse against you with the lies to her family. Yep, she is the abuser, and also borderline criminal. Now she's going around making false accusations. The cameras could also be violating laws. OP needs to get a police escort, get his stuff, then cut off all contact forever.